Christmas used to be sacred in our house. We had our little traditions. Hot cocoa with too many marshmallows. It's a Wonderful Life, playing on repeat in the background. I always carved the roast. She always lit the candles, humming Silent Night just under her breath. We'd wear those ridiculous matching pajamas with the snowflakes on them, the ones I pretended to hate but secretly loved because it made her laugh. I was the apron guy, the in the kitchen from noon till 6 guy. That Christmas was no different, except it was. I felt it the second her brother walked through the door. Rick, the guy with the handshake that always lasted a second too long and the smile that never reached his eyes. Ex-military, gym-obsessed, constantly talking about alpha mentality like he'd trademarked the phrase. He had a knack for making every conversation feel like a challenge, even when he was complimenting you. Especially then. He showed up 2 hours late with a case of beer he knew I didn't drink and this puffed-up chest energy, like he was spoiling for something. And I just wanted peace. One night. Just one. "Hey, apron boy," he said, clapping me on the back hard enough to make the carving knife in my hand jump. "Still playing house chef, huh?" I smiled. Not because it was funny, but because I'd learned, over the years, to pick my battles. "You bring dessert?" He grinned. "Nah, brought something better. Opinions." He was joking, I think, but he meant every word. Dinner was mostly quiet, tense in the way only family can make it. The roast came out perfect, but no one said anything. Except Rick. He said, "Didn't know you could still afford prime rib, given how your startup's doing." I looked at my wife. Her eyes darted to her wine glass. Now here's the thing. We'd had some rocky years. I won't pretend otherwise. The business had dips. She covered some bills when I couldn't. I worked late, chased funding, made promises I couldn't always keep. But I was building. Always building. And I thought she understood that. Rick didn't. Or didn't want to. "You still burning investor money, or is this meal sponsored by another pity loan?" he said with a grin. Laughed. Loudly. I laughed too, soft. "You've got great timing, Rick. The roast is barely on the table." My wife gave a half smile. She didn't say anything. Not to him. Not to me. That silence hit harder than his words. He poured himself another drink. "I'm just saying, it's wild how some guys spend 5 years starting something and still got nothing to show for it but a LinkedIn page and an apron." My mother-in-law chuckled under her breath. That hurt in a way I didn't expect. I looked around the table. My wife avoided my eyes. I cleared my throat. "Maybe we save the stand-up routine for after dessert." "Come on," Rick said. "You used to be able to take a joke." He wanted me to rise to it. He always had. And maybe part of me wanted to give him what he was looking for. But another part, the part that had been tired for months, just wanted to be somewhere else. "I think I'm done," I said quietly. I folded the napkin, set it next to my untouched plate. Rick leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. "Of course you are. Always quitting something." I stood. My wife looked up. "Finally. Babe, just sit. Ignore him." But she said it too softly. Too late. Without conviction. I walked to the kitchen, hung up the apron, wiped my hands on the towel like I was cleaning something more than just stuffing and gravy off my palms. Something like years of exhaustion, disappointment, and missed chances. Then I slid my wedding ring off. I didn't throw it. Didn't make a scene. Just set it gently on the counter. It made this tiny click sound, like a door closing behind me. I grabbed my coat, walked to the living room, picked up the stack of gifts I'd brought. Each one wrapped carefully, each tag written in my handwriting, with thought and love and, yeah, maybe hope. Hope for a better moment. Rick laughed from the table. "Taking the presents too? Real mature." I looked at him, then at her. She didn't speak, didn't move. So I nodded once. Not angry, not dramatic, just done. And then I walked out into the cold, holding every gift I'd brought into a house that didn't feel like mine anymore. The cold hit me as soon as the door shut behind me. That sharp kind of December chill that feels like it goes straight to your bones. I stood there on the porch for a second, arms full of neatly wrapped gifts, staring at the glowing reindeer on the lawn, their plastic antlers dusted with snow. I should have gone straight to the car, but I didn't. I just stood there like a man trying to convince himself he hadn't just left his entire life inside that house. The thing is, I didn't expect to leave that night. I had the playlist ready. I was going to make mulled wine, light the fire after dinner. I even bought her a necklace she'd once pointed out months ago, just once, in passing, and I tracked it down. Because that's who I was. I listened. I tried. I remembered. Even when I was tired, even when she seemed 1,000 miles away. But inside that house, something broke. Not because her brother insulted me. He'd done that for years. But because she didn't stop him. Because she let the silence speak for her. And it said everything I needed to hear. I got in the car, placed the gifts in the passenger seat like they were something fragile. And I sat there for a while, hands on the wheel, engine off, heart thudding slow and deep like it was trying to warn me of something coming. Then my phone buzzed. A text. From her. You're overreacting. Please just come back in. We'll talk later. That's when I felt it, the divide. That sharp, unmistakable space between two people who no longer speak the same language. Her message wasn't concern. It wasn't remorse. It was cleanup. She didn't say sorry. She didn't say Rick was out of line. She just didn't want the optics of me walking out on Christmas night. I didn't respond. Instead, I drove. No music. Just the sound of the tires crunching snow. The gifts shifting on the seat beside me like little ghosts. I didn't know where I was going until I got there. A cheap motel on the edge of town. The kind with buzzing neon lights and thin walls. I paid in cash. Carried the gifts into the room like a man transporting something sacred. I laid them on the bed. Sat in the corner chair. And I stared at them. Each one meant something. A book of poetry for her mom, because she once said she missed reading. A tool set for her dad, because he'd been talking about fixing up the shed. A bottle of single malt for Rick, even, because I'd tried. God help me. I had tried to be the bigger man. There was even a dog sweater for the neighbor's beagle, wrapped in red tissue paper. And the necklace. Last, at the bottom of the bag. I picked it up, opened the box. The silver caught the dull lamp light, glinting like it was mocking me. I remembered the way her eyes lit up when she first saw it online. Back when we still talked about things that mattered. Before everything became about what I wasn't. Not successful enough. Not assertive enough. Not enough. The room was silent. Too silent. I could hear the hum of the vending machine outside, the occasional car passing. It felt like I'd stepped out of time. I didn't cry. I expected I might. But there was nothing left in me that night but exhaustion and clarity. The kind of clarity that only comes after a long season of denial. We weren't a team anymore. We hadn't been for a long time. And I think I'd known it. I just hadn't wanted to face it. Because love makes you blind. It makes you fight for people who've already walked away emotionally. I'd been fighting alone, trying to build a life for two with hands that were growing tired. I stayed in that motel for 2 nights. Called into work. Didn't check my phone much. When I finally did, there were more messages from her. Each one shorter. More irritated. Less patient. You can't just walk out. What am I supposed to tell my family? This is immature. My name? Grow up. Not one, I'm sorry. Not one, are you okay? That was all the answer I needed. On the morning of the 3rd day, I went home. The house was quiet when I walked in. No tree lights, no music. Just that eerie stillness that only comes after a storm. The table was still set, mostly cleared, except for a stray napkin and a fork on the floor. Her coat was gone. So was she. I went to the bedroom. The bed was made. Too neatly. Her side stripped of personality. Like she was trying to make a point. There was a note on the dresser. Just 4 words. Let me know something. No name. No emotion. No warmth. I sat on the edge of the bed, took a deep breath, and realized I already had. I knew exactly what I needed to do next. But I wasn't going to rush it. Some decisions deserve time. Not because you're unsure, but because you want to make sure every step forward is intentional. So I picked up the ring where I'd left it. Slipped it into the same box the necklace came in. And I left it there, beside the note. Unanswered. 2 weeks passed. Long, slow days where the silence of our house felt heavier than any argument could have. She moved back in on the 4th day. I could hear her in the kitchen, the soft clinking of dishes, the occasional door opening and closing. But we didn't speak. We didn't fight. We didn't cry. We simply existed in the same space like ghosts waiting for someone to finally call the house empty. She never mentioned the ring. Never picked up the necklace I left in the box. She left the note where it was too, like she was waiting for it to mean something it never would. I'd started sleeping in the guest room, not out of anger, but because something sacred had been broken, and I didn't want to pretend. I couldn't pretend anymore. On the 12th night, I came home from a walk and found her sitting at the kitchen table. Not crying, just staring at a glass of water. No makeup, hair pulled back. She looked tired. "Do you want to talk?" she asked, finally. I sat down. Slowly. Cautiously. I'm listening, I said. She looked at me, really looked. And for a moment, I saw the woman I'd married. Not the one shaped by pride, not the one dulled by resentment, but the girl I once danced with barefoot in our old apartment kitchen at midnight. I didn't stop, Rick, she said, because I didn't know how to defend you without lying to myself. That cut deeper than anything he'd said, because it was honest. She wasn't trying to be cruel. She was trying to be real, and maybe I owed her that much in return. I know I haven't been who you needed, I said. I've been distracted, tired, trying to build something that could support both of us. Maybe I lost sight of you along the way. She nodded, and I stopped believing you could get there, or that I could wait for you to. That was it. The entire unraveling laid bare in 2 sentences. Not some big betrayal, not a screaming match, just 2 people drifting until they stopped looking for the shore. I'm not angry, I told her. Just done pretending this is still a home. She reached for my hand, not to pull me back, but just to feel it one last time. Do you still love me? She asked. I paused, not because I didn't know, but because I did. Yes, I said, but not in a way that can live in this house anymore. I stood, walked to the closet, and grabbed the small bag I'd packed the night before. I'd made arrangements, rented a short-term place near the coast. Just for now, just to think. When I stepped outside, the cold wasn't as biting as it had been on Christmas night. Maybe I was just numb to it now. Or maybe I'd finally stopped resisting the inevitable chill of letting go. She didn't follow me, and I didn't expect her to. But just as I opened the car door, she stepped onto the porch. You really took the gifts, she said, half a smile on her lips, as if realizing the absurdity only now. I looked at her, then down at the small gift bag I'd left in the passenger seat. Just one remained, the necklace. I brought them for people who wanted me at that table, I said. I guess I just didn't know it wasn't all of you. I got in, shut the door. The engine purred quietly, headlights casting long shadows across the snow-covered driveway. And then I drove. Not fast, not angry, just forward. Some exits don't come with slamming doors or final screams. Some come softly, like a whisper that says, this chapter is over. And as I pulled onto the highway, the ringless weight on my finger felt strange at first. But the longer I drove, the lighter it became.